And the nightcap game of our conference championship weekend is number 14 Louisville and number 4 Florida State at 7 p.m. on ABC. Florida State is a 2.5-point favorite in this game. Very tight spread. Before we get into it, though, real quick, leave a like and subscribe down below the video you're watching now. 98% of all viewers are not subscribed. We need to get that flipped around. Thanks in advance for that. Real quick, Chase wanted me to bring up records because he's winning. Chase on the year 47-21, very, very good. I'm sitting in the middle at 42-26, and Quinn is 39-29. Very solid and respectable. Now, ACC championship, 7 o'clock. Florida State wins. Presumably they're in. If they lose, there's no shot that they're getting in. So for Florida State with a backup quarterback, this is a must-win game. Louisville could play spoiler here after their loss to Kentucky. Quinn, I want to hear from you first. 2.5-point spread for Florida State. What are you thinking?
You know, I'm going to start with this. Florida State has played, let me get the schedule out here. They've played 3 legitimate football teams all season. They played LSU in week 1, big win. They played Clemson, survived in overtime. I would put Duke on here, but I can't because Riley Leonard was hurt halfway through that game. If you remember, before he was injured, Florida State was getting mollywopped by Duke. And then they played Miami. Those are the only legitimate football teams. They played UNA and then some team named Florida last week. That's all they've played since losing Jordan Travis. I'm not buying Florida State. Give me Louisville to win this game. Coming off of a tough loss to Kentucky, I think the Cardinals get it done against Florida State by 7 points.
So I followed that one up, okay? So that's my turn. You know, gosh, the last couple of videos we've made, I've just been dogging Florida State, regardless if they win, lose, draw, whatever. But Quinn's kind of right here. They've struggled a lot of the season. They had a statement win against LSU, and I'm thinking, man, this team's going to beat everybody by 21 points in the ACC, and then, they did not. Now, a cool trend I found, though, Louisville in their last 3 games, guys, remember that, last 3 games for Louisville, okay? They've scored exactly 31 points in each of those games. They lost one of them, though, okay? So, Louisville's going to score 31 points again. I think it's going to be 4 times in a row. And to say that, I'm calling for the upset as well. I'm watching the Florida game. I watched the Florida game all week last week with Florida State. That defense, I saw a little graphic pop up for Florida's defense. They were in the 120s of defensive rankings. Last week, they were playing like they were in the top 20s of defense against Rodemaker. And Rodemaker, he looked confused a little bit. He was getting beat up. He's holding the ball a little too long, making some bad passes. Florida's defense looked really good. Now a top 11 team in the nation in Louisville, I think their defense is going to really show up. It's your conference championship weekend. You got your head coach from Purdue back, Jeff Brom. He's ready to play. I think Louisville beats this team 31-13.
Well, let me add this, too. You bring up the 31. Florida State, in their last 4 games, put up 24 on Pitt, 27 on Miami, 58 on UNA, but did not pass 31 points until the 4th quarter, and 24 against Florida. So hadn't really passed that 31-point threshold here recently.
Ready?
Yeah, it's a good point. And Jordan Travis was a part of some of those games as well. So that's a good point to bring up there, Quinn. I hate to follow you guys and be boring, but I'm going to go Louisville to win this game too. Florida State, if you guys remember, they were in my preseason to make the playoffs, and I hate picking against my preseason selection to make the playoffs because I think that's hard to do in college football is predict a playoff contender in the beginning of the year. But without Jordan Travis, Chase, your take about Jordan Travis in the playoffs is so accurate. Even if they make the playoffs without Jordan Travis, they're going to get destroyed because they don't have that elite playmaker at quarterback that gives you multiple different options.
Right.
So with that in mind, I'm going to go Louisville as well. I think they win by like 4 or 5 points. I think it's a pretty tight game. May even be, a situation where Florida State has a chance to win the game with the last drive of the game, and they can't get it done. So give me Louisville to win by 4 or 5 and play spoiler to Florida State making the playoffs.